And there it is. The NBA trade deadline is in the books. The Wizards have put together a dynamic all-star duo for 2021. James Harden was at the center of a highly contentious trade again, and Memphis found the best way to go all in on the tank. Just keep Ja around. Then, of course, there's Giannis. All that build-up, all that hype for a big pile of nothing. I could have told you that the guy was worth too much, the offer is worth too little, and the rules too tight for a deal to happen. As a matter of fact, I did tell you this in one of my very first videos. On the whole, I wasn't a fan of this trade deadline. Wednesday's spectacle made me miss Woj a lot. No disrespect to Shams, good buddy has all the info and all the connects in the world, but that comes at a cost. With the Giannis coverage, he felt like a content creator first and a journalist second. One man on a mission to get the Greek Freak to a big market so he could break the internet just like he did last year with Luka. As we all know, that didn't happen. When you think about it, the trade deadline should feel massive. The NBA is a prestige TV show as much as it is a sports league, and the trade deadline is our mid-season finale. It's when teams lock in their rotations and we begin the countdown to the postseason. Still, every deadline day feels disappointing. We spend so much of our time talking about the moves that didn't happen because those that do tend not to matter. In this millennium, you can count the number of meaningful acquisitions by championship teams at the deadline on one hand. You got Rasheed Wallace going to the Pistons in 2004. Channing Frye's moved to Cleveland in 2016. Marc Gasol went to the Raptors for their 2019 title, and PJ Tucker became a Buck in 2021. And that's it. But it doesn't have to be this way. I have a foolproof plan to fix the NBA trade deadline. Something to turn this week into the blockbuster spectacle befitting its stature within the season. So how do you fix the NBA trade deadline? Let's find out. First, a quick question. Who is really hurt by the current setup? Well, the players. The second the calendar hits July 1st, the trade window opens and they're at the mercy of the market until the following February. Imagine you play in the NBA. One day you're just living life, all is well. Then a team rep puts his hand on your shoulder and your whole world flips upside down. And that's one of the nicer ways to find out you've been dealt. Some guys aren't so lucky. They find out on Twitter. They find out during rehab. They find out sitting on the bench. And obviously these guys are all millionaires. This is the business they've chosen. But try to think about it from a basketball perspective. Are you going to be at your best when you could be traded at any moment? Are you going to sacrifice for your teammates, guys who might be pushing for you to be dealt? I don't think so. As currently stands, the trade system fails its players. You know who else gets screwed? You and me. That's right, for months, we get endless coverage and endless content for moves that are never made. I love a trip to the trade machine as much as the next guy, but I really got sick of this stuff during this most recent Giannis saga. I'm a Knicks fan, so obviously this affected me and my team, but now it all feels like a waste. Every micro update, every hypothetical, every Shams tweet, and none of it's going to mean anything when he finally does leave. Lastly, the current trade season is bad for GMs. I remember there was this interview with JJ Redick and Bob Myers where Myers talked about the real on-the-ground work of being a GM. He gives this metaphor of the bonsai tree. A basketball team is this beautiful but delicate thing. Every day you give it water, you clip a few branches, you make sure it has enough sun, and do all the little things to make sure the tree grows. It's boring and it takes a lot of time, but you do it anyway. Because when you don't, when you get lazy, it's a disaster. It's the same thing as being a GM. These guys are flying all over the world trying to find a third-string two-guard in Timbuktu. It's a tough job. And we do them no favors by having this overlong trade season that will only exist to create petty drama and division within teams. So what do? After all, you can't just have guys get traded during the finals, as fun as that would be. No, the problem is the whole idea of a deadline at all. Putting a hard and fast stop on a single day does us no favors. We don't need a trade deadline. What we need instead is a trade window. What do I mean by that? In association football, player transfers occur twice a year, once during the summer and again in the winter. Every country does things a little differently, but in all cases, the window must be open for both the buying and selling club. If Liverpool wants to do business with Ajax, the move must comply with both the Dutch and English transfer windows. For the health of the league, I think this is the exact system we need for the NBA. Why is that? Well, because it would be better for the players. Instead of worrying about a trade for 2/3 out of the year, now we have clear dividing lines for when moves can happen. If a guy knows he's going to be on a roster, he can focus on his game and not on the rumor mill. It would also be much better for fans and media. Instead of trying to predict when the next trade is going to happen, we know exactly when moves are going to come. On the fan side, we don't need to hear baseless rumors for months on end. On the media side, they can blow out the trade deadline into this magnificent event it ought to be. Deadline day is one of the highlights of the football calendar and one that has given us plenty of iconic moments. Heck, coordinate the window around league events. Have it open in mid-January during Rivals Week and close it during All-Star Weekend the following month. It turns what's usually the doldrums of the season into a proper NBA holiday. And finally, a trade window would benefit front offices league-wide. No more November trade demands, no more team-busting rumors. If the window's closed, it's closed. That gives GMs more time in the office to build their rosters and fewer crises to squash in front of the media. Is this system perfect? Of course not. If a guy is a malignant presence in October, this means sending him to Cancun for 3 months to wait out the opening of the window. It also gives teams less flexibility to address roster issues quickly. I get all that, but I think it's a system worth trying. If you're Adam Silver, this gives you all the headlines and all the content usually reserved for the NFL playoffs this time of year. Regardless of where you stand, there's one thing we can all agree on. It'll do much better than that goofy 3-team All-Star weekend.